Hi, GERO 508. It's time for Module 11. This is our last week of classes, so we're going to do Module 11 and Module 12 this week. It's a busy week because it's our last week, so you're going to have your corporate marketing pamphlet due Monday night. Today is, let's see, July 28th, Sunday, and Friday you'll have your final exam. That's August 2nd, I think. And our grades are due pretty quickly, so we will be grading everything and finalizing your grades over the weekend. Before I start talking about meditation, which is our subject matter this week, I want to take a minute to look at some of the examples for the corporate marketing pamphlet in case you haven't finished yours yet. Basically what we're looking for is, be creative. Some of you are going to have a lot of experience doing that sort of graphic design thing, and that's fine. If that's your wheelhouse and that's what you love, go for it. But you can also just use PowerPoint. Use whatever tool is easy for you. I don't want you to stress about, this isn't ready to be published and sent out to clients. But try to make it visually interesting. We want you to talk about several interventions, so don't just cover one intervention. We want to see a couple different interventions, mind-body interventions that you're going to offer in your pretend facility that you're going to create that's going to improve the health of your clients. You can use a facility that's focused on older adults. You can also use a facility that's focused on other populations, whatever speaks to you. I had a student some years back that her passion was dealing with unhoused people. And so her focus was on that population. So try to pick something that excites you and try to make this fun. So we've gone in the directions. We've given you kind of a sense of what you need to do. You're going to talk about why stress is bad, talk about the physiology of it, the neurobiology of it, and then talk about your interventions and why they work, what's the evidence that they work. You're going to use citations and have a citation list at the back of the pamphlet. So you can drop footnotes or use in-text citations in a parentheses, whatever you want to do. The directions say that you're submitting it through the Turnitin link. I should probably correct that. We have an assignment link that automatically submits to Turnitin for you. So you go to the assignment link to turn it in. There's directions on the PowerPoint. You did it last time, so you should be fine. Let me see if I can open up one or two of these and just talk about what looks great. This is a good assignment, visually very interesting. Nice pictures, a little slogan, contact info, so it looks very professional. When I pick it up, I know exactly who I'm dealing with. And then, me, I always love a table of contents because that means I know what you're going to talk about, which makes grading it a lot easier. And so they have listed the programs, mindfulness exercise supplements, aromatic massage. We didn't talk about aromatherapy, but that's another tool. Many people use lavender to help them go to sleep, peppermint to deal with migraines, things like that. And then there's just, go through and take a look at it. Notice the use of citations and great pictures. Let me go back and show you the other one. Okay, alrighty. Okay, and then this is a different way of approaching it. So this is a little more, looks like a paper, but also has these really great photos. Nice name, I like Nobu, and good pictures talking about the balance between the mind, body, and the soul, explaining what Nobu means, what the goals are, talks about stress and the impact of stress, and then they show a healthy diet, doing gardening. I love spending time in nature. I think forest bathing, gardening, that use of nature time, really, really a cool idea. Using art therapy, another thing we didn't really get a chance to talk about, but of course art therapy can be meditative, it can be social, really powerful tools. So anyway, kind of neat. And you can take this music therapy, you can take this in a lot of different directions. So like I said, Don't stress if you're not a graphic designer. We don't expect you to be a graphic designer. You're gerontologists or something, however you came to this class. Not everyone's in gerontology in this class. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to be watching my email. You can text me tomorrow. Certainly we're available if you have any questions. So let's go back. Let's find module 11. So we're going to talk meditation. Okay. So as always, we have a short quiz and we have a discussion to talk about how meditation works, how it might impact common diseases like diabetes and depression. Think about, how meditation helps you reverse the problems that can come with constant stress, and, just throw in all the good science that you learned. And I'll be talking about some details backing up one of the videos that we have in our readings today, right now. Okay, so whoops, I went down to the end. Let's start. Let's talk meditation. So one of the things I love about meditation is that it's easy and it's free. So there are many, many different types of meditation. I'm probably never going to be the person who meditates for 30 to 60 minutes a day or longer like a Buddhist monk. My life is a little bit too busy for that right now. But I use meditation in short bursts often. And what I've experienced as a cancer patient is sometimes when I'm getting ready to go in for an IV infusion and I know there's going to be a little pain and a little, involved, when I'm sitting in the lobby, I'll do a short meditation so that when I go back in the back, the first thing they do is they take your blood pressure. I want to make sure my blood pressure is not, elevated from the stress of sitting in the lobby and thinking about what's going to happen next. When I have to have a bone marrow biopsy, another procedure that you might have some anxiety about, I will definitely do breathing exercises and meditation in the lobby so that I'm calm and I'm ready and I'm not freaking out. So I love meditation as an intervention because it's free, it's easy, you can do it anywhere. And so that makes it a really powerful tool that we can use on a daily basis without really changing a lot else in our life. So when we talk about the benefits of meditation, you will see a lot of different things that apply to music, that apply to exercise, that apply to all of the different interventions that we talked about before. One powerful thing that I can tell you that meditation does is it actually reduces your pain sensitivity or increases your pain tolerance, depending on which side of the coin you're thinking about. That's great for people that are getting ready to go into surgery, or people like me that I'm getting ready to go have a bone marrow biopsy, or I'm getting ready to have an IV infusion. And so I'm going to be less sensitive, less sensitized, and less kind of geared up to feel pain when that's happening. At the same time, meditation, like, for example, exercise, boosts the body's immune system. So next time you're going to go get a vaccine, go for a walk and then meditate and then go get your vaccine, and you may get a better immune response, which is amazing. Meditation works, it's very, very effective in terms of reducing anxiety because you take your focus away from the thing that's making you anxious and you focus on something simple like breathing. I like guided meditation where someone's talking you through it. And I used to use it very frequently when I was first diagnosed with leukemia, and I was really anxious about the outcome and the statistics, and I was going on to Google and kind of learning a lot of crazy stuff. And I found a great app that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore called Imvana, and they had guided meditations that were specifically directed towards people with health issues. So you can find a very specific guided meditation for your situation. If your situation is health concerns, maybe your situation is concerns about work or concerns about school, you can find a guided meditation that will help you. And as you sit there and you meditate, You're breathing, you're concentrating on breathing. Remember, when you're stressed, a lot of times your breathing isn't as deep and as full and as regular as it should be. So you're decreasing oxygen levels in your body. So you start to focus on breathing. You're not focusing on the thing that was making you sad or depressed or anxious or mad anymore. You're focusing on this very simple task of breathing and following the meditation pathway. So you're going to slow your heart rate. In my case, it's very effective to lower my blood pressure before I go into a medical situation. You may increase your blood flow. That's always good. That's good for your brain to have increased blood flow, just like exercise helps us in that way. And you're going to create a sense of calm and peace, which is really good. So all of these things that are happening in your body when you meditate are really helpful to deal with heart disease. So lowering your blood pressure, getting oxygen in your blood. We're going to reduce our cortisol. We're going to reduce our blood sugar. All these things are going to be happening. And you may find when you're done that because your energy has been focused on doing all these good things that make your body feel better, that you then have increased energy afterwards and decreased stress. Okay, so we had a little short blog article from Providence, which is just a big medical group that talks about the benefits of practicing mindfulness or practicing meditation 10 minutes a day. So for me, I'm probably less than 10 minutes. I might be 2 or 3 or 5 minutes, but every little bit helps because I'm not just relying on meditation. I'm also using exercise. I'm also using sociality and music and all these different things. So it's going to improve your heart rate, reduce your stress, reduce your blood pressure. And that in turn will have the effect of reducing heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. So I like this graphic on the right that talks about the techniques that will help you with mindfulness. A lot of times when people are experiencing severe anxiety or panic attacks, they're told by their healthcare practitioners to focus on the 5 senses. So what can you see? What can you hear? What can you touch? What can you taste? And I'm leaving something out. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, you know what I mean. And by focusing yourself on your senses, you're taking your mind away from the thing that is causing the anxiety attack or the panic attack. So it's very, very helpful. Okay, this is an article that we used to include in the course, and we took it out because it was very, very technical. But I wanted to give you kind of a, 50,000 feet view that, and also to show you that there's a tremendous amount of literature out there where people are doing rigorous scientific studies to look at stress and meditation to see what are the benefits. And so in this research study, they were looking at different types of meditation and the effects that they had on the subjects. So, the background is, of course, stress increases cortisol. We already know that. Cortisol is bad for your brain, and cortisol increases risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. AD is Alzheimer's disease. Meaning you're going to have more inflammation, you're going to have high blood pressure, you're going to have higher blood sugar, you may be more depressed, you may not sleep as well. So all of these things that flow from having a lot of cortisol and having a lot of stress. But when we meditate, we improve blood flow to the brain. That's really good. We're probably going to get more neurotrophic growth factor, BDNF in the brain. We improve our scores on cognitive testing. So if you have kids and they're going to go take a spelling test tomorrow, have them meditate in the car on the way to school. Or if they're going to go take the ACT or the SAT where it's really high stakes testing, have them meditate before they go. And that will improve blood flow to the brain, improve performance on those high stakes tests. For you, when you go to do your final on Friday, hopefully you're not too stressed, but if you are, take a break, do some meditation. So all these good things, the improved blood flow to the brain, which has a positive effect on your hippocampus, which then it results in improved memory, Lower cortisol levels means better energy, better mood. I think John probably talked about telomerase activity. And so we know that the ends of our chromosomes have these little caps, and increased stress and aging can wear away those little caps. They're kind of like the eraser on the end of a pencil. And what that does is it leaves our chromosomes vulnerable to mutations and bad things happening. So we want improved telomerase activity, which will help us have slower cellular aging. Better sleep. Your body repairs itself when you sleep. I'm a really good sleeper. John has terrible insomnia, and it kind of runs in his family. So a lot of the people in his family don't sleep well. But man, you can go to bed feeling really sick sometimes, or sore, or just and you wake up, if you have a good night's sleep, you wake up the next morning, and it can be remarkable. When we do meditation, we get this upregulation of immune genes, which is, for me, someone who's immunocompromised, a good reminder that I need to start stepping up my game in terms of my meditation practice. Not just do it when I'm in a stressful situation, but do it more on a regular basis. And then down-regulating inflammatory genes. Let me tell you, both John and I are in our 60s, and we struggle with joint pain, muscle pain, arthritis. So anything that's going to decrease our inflammation is a very, very happy thing. And improving glucose metabolism. We know that Alzheimer's is called type 3 diabetes. Anything that we can do to improve our glucose metabolism, exercise, yoga, now meditation is a really, really good thing, and it will prevent problems in the future. Okay, so when we talk about meditation and mindfulness, it's a really great way of taking your focus away from the negative, because our brains tend to notice negative things. When we're in traffic and we're going to be late for class or work or whatever, or the doctor or whatever, we're stressing about traffic, but we're not saying to ourselves, which I did one time when we came back from Costa Rica, dang it, we have amazing roads in the US. You know, we're focusing on the negative so often. So using mindfulness and using meditation can allow you to reprogram your brain to focus on positive things and focus on simplicity, just breathing, reminding yourself to breathe and paying attention to your body in a positive way. Okay. So one of the things that we talk about is heart health impact. And so I wanted to show you this meditation article, Cardiovascular Risk Reduction, and it's a statement from the American Heart Association. They're pretty legit when it comes to heart research. And so they're showing that meditation is good for heart health, it's good for smoking cessation, so quitting smoking. And we know that smoking is related to probably 20 different types of cancer. We teach about this in our undergraduate class, GERO 200. And it's also related to stroke, heart disease, a lot of different things. So if you're struggling to stop smoking, in addition to all the other tools that are available to you, meditation can be very, very helpful. And then, of course, we're seeing in the research improved mood and an overall sense of well-being, which we all want, right? So this is really cool. When you watch the Scientific Power of Meditation video, they're talking really fast, and it's a short video. So I want you to watch it, maybe slow it down a little bit. When I did it, I slowed it down to 0.75. You might slow it down even more. And what I did is I pulled some of the research that they're talking about in that video. They're giving you a high-level view, and I wanted to just give you some references to the underlying studies. So on the left, we're seeing brain scans. Sorry, let me get my little arrow out, my cursor. On the left, we're seeing brain scans. I'm not very good at reading brain scans because that's not my wheelhouse, but I can see that when we compare the baseline brain scan to the meditating brain scan, the red parts of the brain, there are more parts of the brain that are lighting up red, and the parts that are red are bigger where it was already red. And so that's showing increased metabolic activity, increased activity in the brain. And we're seeing, red's the most active, yellow's next, green and blue are the least. So we're just seeing overall more activity in the brain. So the brain's lighting up, surprisingly, when you're meditating. But I think it's because you're focusing on breathing, you're focusing on how you're sitting. And so you have a lot of different parts of the brain that might be lighting up. You may have, the front, your executive function, your motor cortex, so everything's lighting up. On the right, we're looking at a scan that shows someone who's just at rest without meditating and how much pain they're experiencing. And then on the right, we show someone with meditation, and you can see that the part of the brain that's lighting up, your touch, your sensory motor cortex, and pain and touch sensors has decreased dramatically. So if I'm a patient who's just had let's say, a knee replacement, I'm going to want to meditate. I'm going to want to think about figuring out an easy meditation practice before my surgery and try to practice it every day after my surgery. Okay. So the other thing they talk about is empathy, increased empathy, increased pain tolerance, decreased anxiety and depression, increased caring and empathy. So they're comparing the average person who doesn't meditate to Buddhist monks who spend as part of their lives a great deal of time meditating. And my friends who are Buddhists typically have a daily practice of meditating. And so that brings the benefit to your brain of increasing compassion and empathy, which is really, really remarkable. But it also improves your hippocampus, and improves the area of your brain that deals with goal setting and memory. And so you've got all of these parts of the brain that are healthier and stronger. So here we have specific data backing that up. So, and it's a little bit complicated. So on the left, we see your hippocampal gray matter, HGMC, I think is what they call it in the graph. So your GMC, your hippocampal gray matter concentration, meaning how developed and strong and thick your hippocampus is, it gets better if you're using meditation. So they have a control where they're not doing any intervention. On the left, it's a little blue line. And then they show on the right someone who's been engaging in mindfulness-based meditation practice, and the hippocampus gets pumped up. Now, on the graph on the right, we're looking at the amygdala. You don't want your amygdala to get stronger and bigger, because your amygdala is that part of your lizard brain that is responsible for your fight or flight response. And if your amygdala gets stronger and stronger, like someone who's been exposed to a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, a lot of really difficult situations, you're going to start to react to minor things with a great deal of stress. So for people who have PTSD, I would highly recommend meditation to figure out if you can shrink your amygdala, if you can help your amygdala get smaller and less robust so that you're not perceiving danger behind around every corner. So the way the graph shows is that the more stress you're perceiving, the denser your amygdala gray matter is. So the more robust and stronger and thicker your amygdala is. We don't want that. So we want you to use meditation as a tool to calm yourself so that you're not perceiving danger and risk around every corner, and that your amygdala can calm down and get smaller. Okay. So one of the things they talk about is improved immune function. And what they were looking at is a flu vaccine. So they had people meditate, and then they did a flu vaccine, and they looked to see what was happening. And so what they saw is that it was associated with increased immune response, improved immune response, improved antibody response. So when COVID started, and we started getting the COVID vaccines. I was part of a clinical study looking at blood cancer patients to see how we would respond to the vaccine. And the answer was we didn't respond very well. So I had my first vaccine, then I had my second one, and they're taking my blood and they're looking at my antibodies and they're not really good. And it took like 3 or 4 vaccines for me to respond because I'm immunocompromised. But what they did find over a period of time is enough vaccines, and I got the same response as everyone else. But if you are someone, as you get older, you have decreased immune response. If you're a cancer patient like me, you have decreased immune response. And a lot of my friends are on medications for, different things like Crohn's or different sorts of GI issues. A lot of different diseases can be treated with immunotherapy that suppresses your immune system. And so if I'm one of those people, before I go to get a vaccine, I'm going to take a walk because exercise works, and I'm going to meditate before I go into CVS and get my shot. Okay. Another thing they looked at was comparing, looking at telomerase gene expression in patients with high blood pressure. And in this study, they focused on African Americans and they looked at 2 different interventions. One was meditation, and one was something that they called an extensive health education program. Now, the problem, health education is great. We should all have access to health education. It's going to make us all smarter and better and healthier because we're going to be more aware of the effect of what we're doing on our bodies and blah, blah, blah. However, it's expensive. It's hard to do. If you're working full time and you're taking care of your sick parents and trying to get your kids to school and walking your dog, and you're juggling a lot of stuff. So finding the time to go through this extensive health education program can be very difficult for the patients, and it can be very time consuming and expensive for the group that's trying to conduct the extensive health education. So when they did this study, they looked at the telomeres, and this little graphic shows how you have telomeres on the ends of your chromosomes, and that over time, the telomeres shorten until, just like the eraser on the end of a pencil, you don't have any eraser anymore, and your cell division stops, and then the cell becomes sick or senescent and dies. So when they looked at these telomeres and the telomerase gene expression, they looked at the extensive health education group, and they looked at the meditation group. So red is extensive health education, green is meditation, and they got the same result. And so they were pretty excited about this because they said, hey, if we can have this huge benefit for people, they don't have to leave their homes. They don't have to devote an enormous amount of time and energy, get in the car, drive to the center where I have to do the health education. Now you could probably do it on Zoom, but, it may not be as effective if it's not face-to-face. Look, we can use this meditation as an intervention and get really robust effects in this population that we're trying to help. Amazing results. So I'm pretty happy about that. Okay. So UCSF has a program working with San Francisco workers, helping them deal with stress on the job. And I think it's really important for us going into gerontology or whatever field you're going into. It can be a very stressful field. We're dealing with people who have health issues. We're dealing with caregiving issues. We're dealing with aging and just, sometimes some sad situations. So there's a lot of stress. And I'm not just saying that gerontologists have stress. Everybody in the healthcare profession has stress. Everybody in the video game industry has stress. Everybody, professional athletes have stress. We all have stress. So the key is figuring out how we can manage our stress at work. And so they were using mindfulness and meditation, and their recommendation is, and this overlaps with the next module lecture, think about someone or something that makes you feel grateful, and then physically trying to manifest power and strength by doing a Wonder Woman pose, or my favorite is the Beyonce pose, because who doesn't like Beyonce? And that, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm kind of hunched over. But if I do my Beyonce pose, all of a sudden my back pain is better and I'm have more room for my lungs to expand. I'm breathing better. And so we can physically create a situation where we're managing stress through mindfulness of how we're sitting. Okay, so I wanted to connect you with some resources. USC has a website that's called Mindful USC that I think they started probably towards the beginning of the pandemic, understanding that a lot of people were very isolated socially and very stressed about what was going on. I definitely recommend that you check it out. They have an app that does include meditations, so you can download that app on your phone. It allows you to register for the classes. You can sign up. I'm giving you a link to sign up for the newsletter sign up so that you can find out when events are happening, and I'm giving you a link to the different groups. I think it looks like they're still happening in the summer, and so they have groups that you can zoom into and do different types of meditation. There's one group for LGBTQ people. There's a couple different people that lead just kind of general meditation groups. So I think that's a great resource. And to be fair, UCLA has a really good website as well. And one of the things I really liked about their website is they have these free guided meditations, and they've translated them into 18 different languages. So knowing that we have a very international, very diverse population at USC, I'm hoping that we'll do that too. But in the meantime, we're lucky enough to live in LA, and we can borrow from UCLA. They make it available to anyone. You don't have to be a UCLA student or staff member to get access to it. So I definitely recommend that as well, and exploring their website. They've got a UCLA Mindful app, so I'm showing you what it looks like for the Apple Store and on the Google Store. So I think we have access to tools so that we don't have to, necessarily sign up for a meditation class and drive somewhere and figure it out. We can do it easily at home, or when we have time. So tech is your friend. I think that developing a habit of mindfulness and meditation is very, very much supported by tech. This is a screenshot of what the Fitbit Relax tool is called. And this is one of the things that I use all the time. I can sit in a crowded waiting room and I can hit the button to start my relax. And, I think it defaults to a 2-minute session. And it has these cool little graphics. So it tells you to breathe in on a certain, breathe in, and then the little circle goes like this, and then it goes back down, breathe out. And if you're syncing really well, it, it has like fireworks go off at the end. So you know that you did a good job. I love the reinforcement. Okay, and then for Apple Watches, in case you have an Apple Watch, they've got a mindfulness app, used to be called the Breathe app, and they have a state of mind tool, a reflect tool, and a breathe tool. So if you are like me and you've got a tool on your wrist that can help you do these things, it's really awesome. If you don't have that tool on your wrist, but you can still do it on your own, and when you're sitting in the doctor's office or when you're waiting for your exam to start, and you can just sit there and say, okay, I'm going to breathe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and breathe out, and just slow your breathing and get some good oxygen to your brain. Okay, other apps, there's so many that it's hard to even pick two, but these are two that we hear about a lot. The Calm app and the Headspace app are both apps that are highly rated in terms of having meditation tools. So I think for most of us, it's true that we have our phones with us all the time. And there's my little dog picture you can see. We have our phones with us all the time. So being able to put something on our phone that allows us to practice meditation on a regular basis. I use apps all the time. They remind me to take my medicine so I don't forget. They remind me to do certain exercises so I don't forget. And you know, I used to have the app called Omvana, and I should probably download Calm or Headspace and figure it out. My goal when I'm looking for an app is to always find the free app. And most of these, they're free, but then you have to pay for a little bit extra. But my goal is always, you know what, hey, if I can find it for free, you know, that makes me happy, and grateful, which we'll talk about in our next module. So that's all I have on meditation. Try it out. Like I said, it's a very powerful tool. It's free, it's cheap. Free and cheap. It's free, it's easy. You can do it anywhere. And it clearly has very, very profound effects on your stress levels, on depression, on anxiety, on your brain. And really, other than just not taking the time for ourselves to improve our health, there's really no reason not to do it. And like I said, you may be like me and all you can handle is 2 to 5 minutes a day. Do it. 2 to 5 minutes is going to be better than 0 minutes. And maybe you're someone who falls in love with it and it's 15 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day. And that's awesome too. If that's your thing and that's what works for you, then do it. So, all right, well, I'm going to stop here and then we'll do module 12 in a separate video. Okay.